offer value-added services. PM responsible for the overall shaping, directing, and delivery of their project. This unit look at proactive approach to the management activity needed to scope and shape an emergent project at its earlier stage, right? So, okay. So what they're trying to say is project management, right? If you follow the PMI so-called document, okay? PMI is Project Management Institute, USA one, right? When you come to project, strategic project in terms of project nature, scope, and content, the project nature, all right? So in the book, the PM box, they call it, in the book they tell you what are the project nature and what are the scope that you should be doing, so they provide you with the advice to how to do the project, right? So for example, you tender a job, you got the job. Before you tender, you already make a decision, right? Your company bosses already make a decision why you want to tender the job. That means you already anticipate what is expected of you when you get a job. What are the scope that you want to do in terms of the contract contents, right? And the detail of the contract that your boss may know or your project director may know, all right? So this will provide an earlier advice on the company intention of tendering the project. Oh, okay. So PM profession is allowed offer value added to the service, added service to the client. Because in the PM so-called profession, okay, if you are a PM manager, okay, or a professional, okay, you know how to give added value, because if you are trained in project management, you know what is expected of you, how to provide the service to your customer. Okay, this is very important because the survival of the company, it depends on how you provide the service to the customer satisfaction. All right. So as a PM person, you must know the way to do it correctly. Okay. PM also for overall shaping and directing and delivery of project. All right. So in the PM, project management is also responsible for that. Okay. So first of all, you look at your company. Okay, the overall company services. What can you provide? How do you provide? Why do you need to provide? And how to make a profit from the project. All right. And come to the directing. So that means to say the establishment of the organization structure of a project management system. All right. So you have to implement HR management, procurement, purchasing, project operation. And after doing all these things, you come to the delivery of this project. So with the manpower resources that you plan and anticipate, you know how to do the project. Okay. So this unit look at the proactive approach to the management activity needed to scope. What are the things you're supposed to do and shape an emergent project at its earlier stage. That means to say you already anticipate if the project you got it, all right, what should you do? How do you do? When do you do? Where is the place that you will do this project, etc. Right? So proactive approach. Okay. Managing a project briefing process and the establishment of project aim and objective. All right. So in an organization, any company, all right, you will know that if a construction company, you will know that the construction operation, all right, they should know, okay, the project people should know what are the processes that you want to start off with, all right, the operation processes, the tactical processes, the strategic processes that help to establish the aim, the strategic aim and your objective. So suppose that the job that you got it, okay, you calculated you have a project aim of making a profit of 1 million, okay, and your operational safety and health, and also in terms of daily operation, what is your objective? So you will create a master project Gantt chart, and you put your objective there, the statement of work there, then you can tell, okay, this is what I want to aim. That is the objective. Okay. Looking at the conventional project success criteria relating to time, cost, and quality. In any project, okay, this 3 factor is very important. Okay, in PMI, they call it triple constraint. Okay, you have to learn, right? Or rather, you have to create the so-called the project management system that manage the time, that manage the cost, and end of the day, whatever you do is meet the customer quality or international standard quality system, right? PM delivering a project in a sustainable fashion. Okay, most projects nowadays in Singapore, in everywhere, they always have this sustainable idea. Try to improve things, try to reduce waste, try to optimize the material they use for construction, for production, etc., etc. All right, and also try to use minimum energy, right? Or use a so-called the solar panel to use for the construction side. Okay, so this is one of the so-called sustainable fashion that in today's world. Okay, so now you can see that why we want to do this. You can see that the weather have changed tremendously. Now you can see in India, okay, you have drought. Some farmland don't have water, don't have this, don't have that. Okay, and temperature in India is very hot now. Okay, to up to 44 degrees C because of this non-sustainable. We have do harm to the environment. Okay, then now we suffer because of our wrongdoing, the human being wrongdoing. Okay, and now we are trying to help to make sure that the temperature do not increase to extra of 1.5. If more than 1.5, the world will suffer, right? So PM control of the emergent design is a process that's central to effective management. Okay, let's talk about this. Emergent design is a process. Okay, so now in construction site, in anything, we use the application of the what? Okay, of the computer, in the AI, artificial intelligence, Revit, BIM. Okay, all these things will come into play to help to manage a project in an effective way and efficient way. All right. PM are responsible for financial evaluation of the project in terms of anticipated cost. So in a job that you take or your boss take, okay, you have to anticipate what are the costs based on your previous experience. You input what is the budget for this project. Okay, that is the anticipation of the cost. Then once you get the project, you do the job and use the budgeted cost, okay, expense to compare to the actual one, which you in your paper 2 or unit 2 or unit 3, you have done that. Talk about schedule variances, cost variances, right? The anticipated overall project budget can be central to the economics, financial assessment, and viability of the project itself. So nobody want to do a project that are losing money. Okay. So everyone want to make profit, but your calculation of your budgeted amount must be as accurate as possible. If not, okay, end of the day, you will suffer. Means that means the company losing money. So how to manage the time, cost, and quality is through the budgeting planning. Okay, you know the past experience, you can input the past experience into the new budget, all right? And from your past experience, you know what type of job will cost more, what type of job cost lesser. So from there, you break down the job into WBS, and from the WBS package, you can decide based on your input of experience and market practice, you can arrive at a budgeted amount for each work breakdown structure packages. Okay. So project success criteria. PM need to make explicit their client expectation in terms of primary criteria. So what are the client requirements? Based on the contract, normally they state the requirement, and from that requirement, you plan your project, all right? And you make sure that measurement is carried out, okay? And continue monitoring of the project progress, okay? And come up with a effective way to control the cost, effective way to manage the time, and also finally the quality. Okay, that is what the next step say. Conventional measure used to measure project performance basically on time, cost, and quality. Increasingly, clients are now being required by registration to consider sustainability of the project. Okay, in Singapore there's a green mark, so-called certification. All right. So all these things come into play, and it will add additional costs, okay, to your project. So when you tender a project, you must realize that additional costs must be computed to validate your project tendering. Okay. Sustainability is a loose and vague term that can be interpreted in many ways. Yes. Okay. Sustainability can be anything that saves the world. Like for example, you use water, your water, make sure that it's clean before you go to the common drain. This is one of the sustainability. Where you use your building, the lighting, okay, you use what type of lighting, okay, LED light, energy saving light. Another one is you use cable. You don't calculate the cable size, so excess amount, then the transmission of the so-called the electricity is too much of a waste, because the bigger the cable, the issue is the bigger the cable, you will consume more electrical energy loss. Okay, that's what in electrical say I2R. Okay, current loss. Okay, and your current resistance. That means your conductivity of material also will increase your current loss. And this is one way to assume that you calculate the cable size just enough or just required by the energy or electricity authority. In this way, you can save energy. So it's very important that the calculation, the project manager know about all these things. Okay. time. So management of time to organize and deliver client project. So it is for commissioning or an occupation when originally request. So here we call it, once the building complete, of course we have to follow the regulation, the law. The law said that once the building complete, you have to, as a contractor, you have to apply for TOP, okay? Temporary occupation permit. That means once you apply, the government inspector, okay, will come down to check, okay, check the building construction, whether it's according to the drawing, okay, whether the building is stable to let people stay, etc., etc. So these are the people that give you the license, say, okay, we have inspected, we give you the TOP. Before the TOP, you have to conduct a CSC, okay, or Certificate of Satisfactory Completion. They call it CSC. All right. So once you've done it, then they give you a license for you to occupy the area. Then as a contractor, you have to commission the building in terms of power, electrical supply to the building, water, okay. These two items is more important, right? Then the whole house can be renovated by another party of contractors. Okay, so you are the builder, the renovation is done by another contractor. Okay, a PM need to develop skill that will enable management of time in the pre-construction as well as a construction phase. Okay, so this is very important. End of the day, you must recruit the right person for the right job. If you can't find these type of people, then your project bound to fail. Okay, in today's world, it's like that. But because of the highly automated system in manufacturing or in construction industry, okay, the requirement of manpower in today compared to 10 years ago, I can safely say that it's about 10 years ago, you recruit about, say, 100 people for the worker, for the construction. Same construction activity. Today, you only recruit 30 people, 30 or 40 people. So there is a tremendous saving of the manpower cost, all right? Provided the people are highly skilled, able to do their job independently rather than depend on supervisor or your colleague. Okay, so this is a very, very important consideration when you manage a construction project or any other project that you come across, right? So key activity in construction, pre-construction, all right? The cost variant time target to include, which include appointment of appropriate design team consultant, receipt of outline and detailed planning permission, and delivery of emergent design to an agreed schedule. So all these things will be done by your company. Your director will find people to form a design team, find people to do the planning section and delivery, and finally the construction people, okay, the workers, the engineer, all these things will come into the agreed schedule and they will start constructing, okay, with the agreed schedule. Okay, PM managing time to establish milestone, right? Date, all right? So in any project, there must be a starting point and the ending point. So your ending point is a milestone where you take maybe 3 months, 4 months, 5 months to complete the project. You put in the Gantt chart, then you will know, okay, you follow through the Gantt chart, scheduling and everything, then you will know that when the complete, when it's not, what are the projects that delay based on the work breakdown structure packages, all right? Such milestone can be easily set at high or strategic level, okay? We cannot say set at high level, but strategic level to the benefit of the company, to the proper utilization of manpower, and to the proper budgeting and timeline according to the milestone date. All right. Later, taking each task and subtask to in turn to establish relevant start and finish date so that the group tasks or work packages tasks are achieved on the program. So typically, significant date and milestones for overall project schedule comprises of this, right? Date of contract document, okay? Date of site possession, okay? And practical completion, date of defect liability, and date of sectional and final completion, and date of commission and handover of completed building. Okay, so for example, like this one they give you is what? In the contract, okay, let's say your company get a contract. So how are you going to know, okay, in terms of the demand by your client? So here are 5 ways, okay, to meet the deadline. One is the date of contract documentation. Contract documentation is the day where you prepare all the drawing, layout plan, and all the specification, technical specification of the building structure, the design structure, the staircase, the floor, how many square area, the room, and everything, and the electrical, what is the kilowatt consumption for that building. Everything, all the information is calculated and locked into the document, and this document will be kept by you as a tender, as a contractor. Okay, and this document will use for your progress in the construction, for your reference in your construction, right? So after doing all these things, document already, check through and all agree with that contract or construction document, okay? Then followed by the date where you process the site. Let's say a construction site, then open ground area, okay? How are you going to process it? That means to say you talk about mobilization of your people, your equipment, your raw materials, everything into the site, onto the site. And from there, you will start construction. So from the estimated of transporting of your equipment to the site, okay, and begin construction, all right? And from all these things you do, what is the practical completion? From there, you look at the master schedule, look at the individual packages, okay, the work package task, and see which date that you want or you arrive at to complete the building totally, right? So this is very important because end of the day, the customer want to know, right, when the date completed. Suppose that he is a property developer, your client. The property developer want to know when can he complete it because they already stated in the contract. So after calculation, after doing all these things, you roughly know, you tell the most probable date of completion. Okay. Then the customer will do what? Because it's a, for example, you build condominium, right? What they do is with this information, they can do marketing to the buyer. Okay. Okay. Condominium buyer. So how many months, all these things they will know. Because one information to them, they will know what to do. Okay, they will do their marketing and they get people to buy their condominium, right? So the date of defect liability is normally for a new building is 1 year. So that means to say the client, your customer, your property developer will retain 10% of your project cost. Okay? So that 10% is for defect liability period. That means to say, after finish the job, you only receive 90% of the cost. But the 10%, the client or the property developer will keep because why? They want to tackle this defect liability. So upon completion of a building, you have to check the building story by story, okay? Check for any defect, any crack, any roof leaking or whatever. So you record down and you ask the contractor, your people to repair and to get it right. Okay, this defect liability will be 1 year. Some people demand 2 years, right? So assuming that we have 1 year, the liability that during the 1 year of customers staying in the condominium, okay, any defect, they don't need to pay because that is a guarantee for 1 year. Then you have to repair to get it done until the completion of the satisfaction of the homeowner. Okay. The date of sectional and final completion. Okay, of course, this one is part of the project. Date of handover, commissioning. Right. So liability apart, and when is the date that you want the final completion and the commissioning, everything. So you can see that in a project, right? You have many things to do. So running or building a building is not the same as you start a manufacturing of parts or a product to the consumer. It's totally very different. Okay, like for example, after completion of building, people stay inside, right? The building owner may engage a facility management company. This company will do what? Provide daily maintenance, daily cleaning, okay, daily servicing of aircon, right? So any defect on the building after the defect liability period, this FM or facility management company will do all the repair. If there's building wall crack lah, all this thing. Okay, take note. Okay, cost. Okay, so for many clients, the budget available to finance the design and construction of the project, okay, is limited, right? So take note of that. Most clients will give you just enough for the construction, okay? The client or the developer, they also know how to finance the build-up of a new building. What are the money involved, they know, right? So they will give you just enough budget, okay, plus a certain specific percentage of profit, maybe 10%, 20%, or 5%, okay? Depend on the tendering process and depend on the evaluation by the client, okay? So take note of that. This constraint on the realization of the project cannot be rectified, okay, by good project management. Okay, the cost is already there, the minimum cost is there. So whatever you can do, the project, you make sure that the project is finished on time, on cost, on the quality standard that the client wants. Okay, even you have a good project management, the cost is always there. That means there is a minimum costing for all the work breakdown tasks, right? So early stage of evaluation of likely overall project is a crucial activity undertaken by the PM. Okay, normally if you look at the construction curve, the starting point, right, is very difficult because why? The starting of the cost of the construction is very difficult because people have not get used to the work area. Okay, your people in work area. Second thing is you're going to set up the operational construction aspect on the site. So you need to recruit correct people. You need to establish the system within the work site so that the activity will go out, construction activity will go out smoothly. So all these things in the beginning is going to eat up your budget. So you have to be aware of this before you shift out or mobilize your whole crew. You must plan such a way that the budget is within the control. All right. On many projects, the initial price forecast is formulated by others, so the PM need to evaluate the reliability of the advice. Right. So depend on the contractor. Right. The contractor can be very experienced, know how to evaluate themselves, no need to seek outside advice, because some of the construction consultant, okay, they also based on their experience to give you the data. But if you are a company that do construction in building all these things for many years, you will know. You don't need them to advise you. You know what to do, how to do. Okay, like for instance, for me, if I go to ask by the petrol and petrochemical plant owner to let me run a project of construction of plant, a small plant, okay, to lead the whole chemical process. I know what to do because my experience tell me what to do, how to do, not how not to do. Okay, so it's very critical in terms of the contractor, the client, the property developer. Once they select the contractor, they must know how reliable is your contractor. So all these things were reformulated by the client, and finally they give you the project, right? Oh. So you can see that the cost, again, the PM must design cost limit, etc. So a project management team, they will know, okay? Once you have the cost budget there, they know how to identify, design at the correct time and at the correct cost, okay? With all the live construction cost limit, okay? So all these things will be done throughout the process by using WBS. So a PM related to this element of project, initial high cost and initial high level work breakdown structure. Okay, from here as time go by, you can squeeze the schedule, the budget by looking at the work breakdown packages. All right. Okay. So there are many ways of doing things, about just an elaboration. Okay. Work breakdown structure is very important. You cannot do a project once through. You must know which is critical, which is non-critical. Non-critical one can do later. Critical one can do earlier. All these things. As we study about the float, okay, the lead and the lag, okay, lag or schedule, all these things, right? Early start, early finish, right? So this reliable cost information enable the client to make decision on whether the project should proceed or not. So for all this cost evaluation, you will know, right? So whether to proceed or not, suppose you tender the job already, you got the job. You have no choice to reject the project. So you have to find a way to streamline the work packages to such a time that equitable to your strategic goal or your profitability. Okay, so the client can also decide which alternative proposal will facilitate the optimum use of your finance. Everything you do, there's money. So you must know how to balance up your cost so that eventually, okay, your cost will not overrun and within the profit that you want to achieve. Okay, so come to quality. So quality checking, quality meeting the client requirement is very important, because the quality doesn't meet, you're going to incur more cost because you have to redo the whole thing again. You break the structure again, you redo the whole thing, the cost going to be double or triple. Okay, so you must design, in the first thing is you design meet the international standard, meet the client requirement. Okay, so in terms of quality or performance standard, okay, here right what? Here right is the decision to proceed with project is already taken by considering one project constraint, right? So in a project there are multiple constraints. You have to look at it. You look at the Gantt chart that you prepare. Where is the constraint? Where is the float? Okay, where is the slack? You have to look at it and adjust and improve the manpower distribution for the whole project. Okay. Problem with project cost inevitably raise concern for the standard of finished product, right? So before the project start, you must look at all this equation and make sure that it meet the target. Okay, the PM must advise project manager, the client, the relevant standard that can be achieved for a available budget at the strategic stage. Okay, the PM or project manager will know, and with input from the civil engineer, with the input of structural engineer, with input from the project manager, you will know that what are the relevant standards they can follow according to the local standard regulation or international standard practices. Okay, a draft quality statement should be set up, right? So as a contractor, you have to come up with the quality strategic goal. What do you want to achieve? Say, for example, you're building a structure, right? The structure cannot be, alignment cannot be out of 5%, 1%, 2%. All these things must be written down black and white, and you must know how to achieve that percentage or that quality goal that you want for your client, as stated by your client. Okay, for example, outline specification, assurance requirement, etc. So your system, your quality system must be set up with the proper people to make sure that quality assurance throughout the construction project and the specification follow international specification, or the client or the architect demand this type of standard. Then you have to note it down, take notice. As the time of construction continue, you have to constantly monitor it. Okay, the information should be sufficient to assess the likely appearance, function, durability, and maintenance requirement of the finished project. All right. So before the project start, you must simulate the building using BIM to look at the 3-dimension, the building. What do you anticipate about this building when construction finished, whether it's durable, whether they meet the maintenance requirement, how to do a maintenance, because you design in terms of a building structure not in a proper order, sometimes when you do repair, a lot of problems occur, right? So this is very important end of the day. Okay. Oh.